Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot. My name is Cindy. I'm delighted you are here. You're going to be seeing this video on November 23rd. So, I think the first thing that we're going to do is we're all going to just take a moment and we're going to send, some prayers and some light energy to the state of Wisconsin. There is just a great deal of toxic and angry energy floating around that state. And added to that, there is now heartbreak. And so I think we should all just take a moment and send some love to the state of Wisconsin. They've been through too much lately, too much. Okay, so let's take a look at Steve Bannon, shall we? Now, you got to remember, okay, and I don't want people to lose sight of this or track of this. This situation that he is in, what this referral to the Justice Department and these charges of obstruction, that's not going to force him to testify. That's going to punish him for not testifying. It's very different, okay? So I don't want you out there thinking that, okay, well, they're going to, he's going to whatever, and he's going to be, and then he's going to have to testify. He's not going to have to testify. This is to punish him for not doing so. I don't know all the legalities. I don't know if there is a way to actually ensure that he testifies. I think that would somehow, I think he might have to get some sort of a deal with immunity to be able to actually be sort of forced. And even then, he can just keep saying, I take my Fifth Amendment right, okay? So let's get that clear. But however, irregardless of how this works out, you can't help but feel that he's on a very slippery road here. He showed up that first time at the courthouse and he was full of bravado, and you just wait, and you picked the wrong guy, and pounding his chest and pointing his finger. And then they go into court and they're like, oh, we really want to delay this and we want to slow walk this. And the judge says, yeah, no, I don't think so. Nope, not going to happen. So I don't know where all the bravado went, because really the strategy was not some sort of fake bravado. It was drag our feet and let's put this off as long as we can. Okay, and from what I understand, I don't think that the judge was particularly impressed with his lawyer. And so that, kind of doesn't bode well. All right, so let's drill down a little bit. I want to take a look at Steve Bannon. And then I think I might want to take a look at perhaps the select committee, see what's going on there. We'll see. All right, come on down. I have a question. Okay, so I continue to try to figure out what is happening with my mic that is causing a few of you out there to not be able to hear me clearly, and it's you're having some trouble with it. I've switched mics. I've adjusted my sound level, so we shall see. But I do caution you to remember that this isn't a great season for my voice. And I'll just show you, I have my handy dandy cup of tea here. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but my daughter made this for me. And it says, create your own sunshine, which is, kind of a nice thing to think about. And for those of you wondering, the cup is actually probably not full to the top, okay? So that's what we have there. Alrighty, let's take a look at good old Steve Bannon, shall we? Steve Bannon legal. Steve Bannon legal. Steve Bannon legal. There we go. Okay, so we've got the Chariot, the Tower, the Ten of Cups, the Hierophant, Two of Wands, Four of Cups. Okay, so this is where we're at. He is going to sort of ride this wave, push this thing forward as long and as hard as he can. You know, this is like advertising for him. This is, you know, what's his stupid show called, The War Room or something? This just gives him more ammunition, okay? And he's going to use it. He's going to maximize it to the absolute best of his ability. The problem is that whether he, hang on, please. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so as I said, he's going to push forward. He's going to milk this for as much as he can. He's going to try to turn this into, you know, some message, right? Unfortunately, what's happened for him is he's losing credibility. It feels in some ways as if, you know, getting indicted. It's funny, you know, I'm hearing the words post-traumatic stress disorder, right? So I think this time, you know, it's not the first time he got indicted, right? He got indicted for, you know, stealing all that money for the We Build the Wall nonsense. But this time, there isn't somebody in the White House who is going to, you know, cushion his fall. And so it feels as if for some reason, while there may be a lot of bravado going on the outside, it actually feels like inside he's a little bit what you call shook up. The government is not going to horse around here. And by the government, I actually mean the judicial system and, you know, and the government proper. And this is why. It sets a horrendous precedent, right? It sets a precedent that says, yeah, you know, you don't have to talk to us. It's not important. You can just blow us off. What the heck? And that isn't something, and make no mistake, that is not something that either side actually wants, because the Republicans, in their most favorite fantasies, think that they're going to, you know, bounce right back and take over the House and the Senate and the White House, and and the last thing they want, because they then are going to start investigating anybody with a D in their name. They don't want people to be able to just say, yeah, I'm not going to do anything. I don't have to respond to you. Who do you think you are? Because Bannon got away from it. Okay, so keep that in mind, is he's not really going to get a lot of support from Republicans. Now, they may not be screaming it from the rooftops, but it's not there for him. And besides, he's not a traditional Republican, right? He's a tear everything down kind of guy. So he doesn't, I think what I'm trying to say is it just doesn't feel like the energy is moving in a way that is favorable to him. He's been getting some really hard truths or harsh realities spelled out to him, and whether it's by that lawyer or it is some coming from somewhere else, but there is definitely, he's being told some harsh truths that I don't think he actually really wants to hear. All right, so now you've got the Hierophant. So this is the government. This is representing the courts, okay? And the courts are taking, you know, they're going to do everything that is fair, but it is such a blatant disregard for established norms and for the laws and for expectations that I really don't see this going very far. Now, I don't quite know how your system works there, the legal system, but, you know, he's going to do this thing, and then I imagine, unless he's sort of absolved, he's going to appeal it. I just don't know if the appeal court then says, yeah, no, we're not going to look at it, if they can keep pushing it up the ladder, because for some reason I don't see this thing as actually having like legs, sort of like I don't see it going on and on and on and on. Now, having said that, you know, you've got the Hangman here, so this is also not going to move with, you know, tornado-like speed either. But irregardless, this thing is coming to the end. He's got the world here, okay? This time, this kind of antic, this kind of nonsense, it looks very much like it's going to, you know, come to an end for him. He's going to find himself in a really difficult place. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if he doesn't end up with some jail time in addition to a fine. And again, this is a situation where they are going to make him an example to those people who are following, the Trump mandate or dictate. And, they're going to send out a message that, this isn't going to fly. Okay. So that's what he's looking at. And the thing is he's got too much exposure in ways that it feels as if we don't know about yet. But it feels as if there is some other stuff that could possibly come to light or other stuff that's going to surface. But it feels like he's on very, very shaky ground. And, this is the thing, right? Only he knows what he knows. Only he knows what he has hidden. Only he knows the stuff he did that hasn't come to the surface yet. And so it's a very interesting energy. But as of right now, it looks like he's actually a little stressed. And of course, because he is the type of personality that he is going to react to that in public with a lot of, breast beating and shouting and finger pointing and threats. But it is hot air. That's all it is. He's in trouble. Yes, indeed. He's in trouble. They're coming after him, and his voice is going to be diminished. His voice is going to be, I don't want to say silenced, but it feels as if he's going to lose some of those platforms that have really, I guess served him well. Now, the thing is, Steve Bannon is not going to testify. Okay, I just don't see it happening. And the idea is that hopefully he can be sort of punished enough that maybe it makes other people leery about, trying the same tactics. Speaking of which, let's take a quick look at Mark Meadows. So, this is the thing. Mark Meadows is saying, executive privilege, I don't have to talk to you. And the committee's saying, you know what, that's like fine, but we have a whole ton of questions that we want to ask you that have nothing whatsoever to do with executive privilege. We want to know about phone calls and conversations that you had with other people. And so, it's sort of like, it feels as if like this, like, this was the defense he had. This was the defense he could use, this executive privilege claim. But it doesn't feel as what he's done is he's narrowed his defense to a very limited thing. And somebody's going to come along and say, oh, okay, well, we don't have to talk to you about Trump. Let's talk about everything else. Let's talk about who you talked to on the 6th. Let's talk about conversations you had with other people. Let's talk about what you knew on the 4th and the 5th. That's where he's going to get caught. Come on down. Let's take a look at Mark. The timing was sort of interesting, right? Because as soon as he started squawking about executive privilege, the committee turned around and said, yeah, well, except you know what? That's not everything we want to talk to you about, right? Here we go. Let's look at it this way. Mark Meadows committee. Mark Meadows testifying. Mark Meadows legal. Let's see what we can find out. Okay, he's starting to figure out that there's too much information he has. There's too much information that he knows that he really could find himself in a very sort of difficult spot. Okay, there's information from a lot of different places that in some ways he's like the center of or the narrator of. And so again, you know, for right now, he's just trying to figure out how to escape. You know, he kind of feels as if like he floated under the radar for a while, and he's a little annoyed that he doesn't quite seem to be able to continue floating there. It also looks as if his emotional responses to things behind the scenes look like they're getting a little sort of scattered and angry. I'm not sure if he is in communications with Trump right now, but definitely there is a sense that he's not really sure how to get out of where he's gotten himself into. So this is a problem, right? Because he's really scared of a lot of stuff getting exposed, and a lot of stuff he had a part in or a role in, whether it's communications or memos or text messages, whatever it is. There is some real concern there. What I'm looking for, honestly, okay, well, there's, King of Mar-a-Lago card. What I'm trying to see is if he's actually going to end up getting, if this thing is going to end up getting referred to the Justice Department. Because again, they don't want to send anything to the Justice Department that the Justice Department is not going to pursue and charge. Because then it looks sort of like a witch hunt, right? Interesting, same card. So definitely feels like he right now is looking at his options, and they're not very good options. He still is in that place where he's very reluctant to go against what Trump wants, and he's definitely he's struggling right now. But you know what? Okay, there we go. So here comes justice, and there comes the devil. Okay, so it looks like at this point that he is going to get referred to the Justice Department because there's too much other stuff around the insurrection that he knows about. Now, whether he actually starts singing like a canary is another thing. But again, it's that whole concept of you're not going to be allowed to set precedents where a president who is not a sitting president is claiming an executive privilege that doesn't actually exist, and you get to stand behind that and say, well, he said I couldn't talk, so therefore I'm not going to. And apparently, where did I hear it? Just the other day, I heard that Trump had asked him. Now, okay, those of us who have been following that, Orange Menace for years understand that he has this sort of interesting way he talks, right? So I suppose with him, something that sounds to outsiders of a request could very well be a demand. But the point is, it doesn't look like he doesn't want to go against Trump right now, but it also feels as if he's going to be another one that gets made an example of. And when this thing moves forward, it feels like it's going to move forward quite quickly. Feels like he's going to end up with things moving along very, very swiftly. Okay. And, also, I guess there has to be a question asked, right? Who pays for this stuff, right? I don't know nothing about Mark Meadows, but does he have the kind of funds that are going to allow him to kind of fight this thing for all he's worth? I don't know. What do I know about him? But definitely looks like that might also be a consideration. All right. Let's take a look at the select committee and just see how they're doing. You know, again, they put out these little nuggets like, oh, you know, well, we've spoke to 200 people and oh, we have thousands and thousands of documents that we're able to go through. And, you know, they're not teasing. They're absolutely dead serious when they make these statements. And so part of it is getting a message out there that, you know, listen up, you guys, we probably know more about what you think we're trying to get you to talk about than you realize. And there's a lot of government officials, a lot of Trump officials who have gone to the committee voluntarily, and some who, you know, have requested a subpoena just so that they can kind of cover their own butt. But there's a lot of them talking. Because the thing is, you know, that fragile king has taken things to such extremes, right? That there is an awareness that things really have to be curtailed somehow. The truth has to come out. Oops, and one more shuffle. Here we go. Okay. House Committee insurrection, House Committee insurrection, House Committee insurrection. Or Senate Committee. I don't know what, you all know what I'm talking about, that committee. If I've got attached the wrong house or label to it, don't correct me. We all know what I'm talking about. Okay. So the expression that I heard as I was putting out these cards was, there's more than one way to skin a cat. No harm to cats intended, of course. But what it feels like is, you know, this is like what we can see in public is literally the very tip of an iceberg. There is so much going on behind the scenes. There is so much going on quietly. There is so much they already know that there's not a whisper. There's not a leak. There's nothing. And, you know, it's an interesting thing, right? Think about the sieve that was a part of the 4 years with Trump. There was nothing that wasn't leaked. And very often, it was leaked by people in his closest circle. But now, there are no leaks. There's not even a squeak of a leak, okay? And so, we're back to maybe what was considered normal before, you know, that guy. Because it's kind of, things are operating in a way that, you know, things that are not supposed to be made public aren't made public until we're ready to make them public. There's that kind of an energy around it. So it's reverted back to a time when before everybody was leaking about everything, trying to either protect their butt or, you know, raise the roof and draw some attention to something crazy. As far as the committee goes, though, they're just very quietly, they're very diligently working their way through everything they're working their way through. And listen, they are more than well aware of the fact that there is a time crunch, right? I mean, there's a lot of this ridiculous talk about, oh, you know, the Republicans are going to take over whatever the House committee, I think, you know, and they're going to stop this investigation. Well, okay, so let's think about that. So there's this committee that is doing its level best to figure out what the hell happened and how the country came so close to actually no longer being a democracy. And they know that there's an election coming up in about a year. So what do you think? They're going to like dawdle? Of course, they're going to do everything they can to push this information through. In fact, I think summer, maybe very, very early fall, is when I think most of this information is actually going to hit the public. It's going to be in enough time so that when people are voting, they have as much information at their disposal as is possible. Okay, so remember that, like a lot of the stuff that you're hearing about, oh, this or oh, that, it's great television, but it's not necessarily what is in actual fact going on. Okay, so they're all about exposing things, and they're going to go as high up as they can. We all know who the Fool card is. And whatever they end up ultimately releasing is going to be forceful. It's going to be like intelligent. It's going to be easily assimilated. And it's going to have a real punch to it, because they are doing everything they can to ultimately bring back a balance within the country, bring back something that resembles what a democracy should be, and exposes secrets that have too long been, swept under the carpet. So this committee has a tremendous amount on their plate, but it definitely feels as if they're very much like up to the job, right? I mean, this nonsense that goes on, they don't listen to it. They can't be bothered listening to the nonsense. And as far as the committee itself goes, they appear to be functioning almost with a touch of magic. They have everything they need. They're getting everything they need in order to make this case. So the thing is that it's not like they're taking one person's word for it. When they're trying to confirm, a statement or an action, they have many, many people corroborating that item, whatever it is. And so where you're at here is that even if you don't get the Steve Bannons to talk, that's okay, because 50 people around Steve Bannon have already spilled the beans. And then another 25 are able to give really solid information or really solid evidence. Okay? So in some ways, that committee truly is it's being protected because they need to get this job done. There's too much writing on it. Ultimately, what they find, their words they speak, are going to go a long way to restoring a sense of not only balance with temperance, but, it's going to take the government a couple of steps closer to being, more solid, more secure than it has been. All right. And those that thought that they were going to get power back, they're going to be left out in the cold. Wow, are they ever going to be left out in the cold? Yeah. So there you have it. So that's what it looks like for Bannon, Meadows, and the 1/6 Commission. So I hope that was helpful, insightful for all of my American subscribers, friends in the United States. Have a fabulous Thanksgiving. There's a lot that's happened since the last Thanksgiving, okay? And, let's count our blessings. Let's stay safe. But let's take some time to appreciate the fact that, we have survived another year. And things are looking up. Things are getting better. You have some intelligent people in the White House. You have some intelligent people in the government. And the country has you. And that's nothing to sneeze at, because you are loyal, you are engaged, and you are ready to do what needs to be done to continue to try to right the wrongs, not only that were done in the last 4 years, but some of the wrongs that have been going on for, frankly, too long to mention. All right. Have a happy Thanksgiving. For everybody else, enjoy your week. I am at this point anticipating that I will be releasing a video on Friday, like normal. Although I don't expect as many views, maybe over the weekend I might get some, because everybody's going to be, of course, Black Friday shopping. All right. Until next time, take care. Be well. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.